What if the reason you keep putting things off has nothing to do with laziness? What if it's actually a protection mechanism, something your mind invented to keep you safe? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It never was. And once you understand what Alfred Adler discovered about human psychology over a century ago, you'll never look at your own avoidance the same way again. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share has the potential to genuinely change the way you relate to yourself. Adler believed something radical for his time, said that human beings are not driven primarily by the past, not by trauma, not by childhood wounds, not by the things that happened to us. Instead, he argued that we are pulled forward by the future, by our goals, by the vision we hold, consciously or not, of who we want to become and what we want our life to mean. This is called teleological thinking, and it flips everything upside down. Because if that's true, if your behavior right now is secretly aimed at a future outcome, then procrastination isn't a failure, it's a strategy. A deeply human, deeply understandable strategy. The question is just, what is it protecting you from? Think about the last time you avoided something important. Maybe it was a project at work. Maybe it was a difficult conversation. Or maybe it was starting that creative thing you've been talking about for years. You told yourself you'd do it later. That you needed more time, more energy, more inspiration. That the moment wasn't right. But here's what Adler would say. You weren't waiting for the right moment. You were avoiding the risk of trying and failing. Because if you never truly begin, you never truly fail. And if you never fail, your self-image stays intact. You can still tell yourself and others that you're capable of great things. You just haven't started yet. It's a painful kind of comfort, but it is comfort. Adler called this the life lie, the story we tell ourselves that justifies our inaction. And the genius and the tragedy of the life lie is that it feels completely rational from the inside. It feels like wisdom, like patience, like self-awareness. I'll start when I feel ready. I just need a little more. Preparation now isn't the right time. These aren't laziness. These are sophisticated psychological defenses, and they deserve to be understood, not judged. But understanding them is the first step to dissolving them. One of Adler's most powerful principles is this. Every human being has an innate drive toward what he called social interest, a desire to contribute, to connect, to feel that their existence matters to others. And this drive is deeply tied to our sense of self-worth. When we procrastinate, we often cut ourselves off from that feeling. We delay the very actions that would make us feel useful, capable, alive. And the longer we delay, the more we feel unworthy of starting. It becomes a loop, a gentle, suffocating spiral. You've probably felt it. That strange heaviness when a task has been sitting on your list for too long. It stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like an accusation. So what do you do with all of this? Adler's answer is elegant. He believed that the path forward is not about discipline, not about forcing yourself, not about becoming a different person. It's about shifting your sense of purpose. He said, ask yourself not what is stopping me, but what am I moving toward? This small change in direction from obstacle to destination fundamentally alters how your nervous system responds to the task. Because the brain doesn't particularly like avoiding pain forever, but it will move heaven and earth for a meaningful goal. Let's make this concrete. Imagine someone who wants to write a book. They have the idea. They have the passion. And yet, every time they sit down to write, something comes up. An email to check. A snack to get. A sudden urge to reorganize their desk. From the outside, it looks like distraction. But Adler would say, look deeper. What does writing the book mean to them? It probably means something enormous, expressing their deepest ideas, leaving something behind, being seen. And that meaning is exactly what makes it terrifying. The antidote isn't to make it smaller. It's to reconnect with the meaning and then take the tiniest possible action in its direction. Not to write the book, just to open the document. Just to write one sentence. Just to show up. Adler called this acting as if. Behave as the person you want to become before you feel ready to become them. Identity follows action, not the other way around. There's another principle that is quiet but essential. Adler believed deeply in what he called the courage to be imperfect. And this might be the most countercultural idea in his entire body of work. We live in a world obsessed with optimization, with best versions and peak performance and flawless execution. And underneath all of that noise is a silent, devastating belief that we are only worthy of love and belonging when we get things right. Adler disagreed entirely. He believed that the willingness to try imperfectly, clumsily, with doubt in your chest and shaky hands is not a lesser form of courage. It is the highest form of courage available to a human being. Let that land for a moment. The version of you that starts before feeling ready, that submits the imperfect work, that has the awkward conversation, that version of you is not failing to be courageous. That version of you is the very definition of it. Procrastination often lives in the space between who we are and who we think we need to be before we're allowed to act. Adler's work gently, firmly closes that gap. It says, you don't need to be ready. You don't need to be certain. You don't need to feel motivated before you move. You just need to take one honest step in the direction of what matters to you. And here's the part that doesn't get said enough. That step doesn't have to feel good. It doesn't have to feel empowering or cinematic or like a turning point. Most meaningful steps feel ordinary from the inside. Sometimes they feel like nothing at all, but they compound. Quietly, reliably, invisibly, they compound. Adler also spoke about something he called the style of life, the unique pattern each person develops for how they move through the world. Your style of life was shaped early, often before you had the language to understand it. And it includes your relationship with effort, with failure, with being seen, with beginning. The beautiful thing is, it can be reshaped. Not overnight, not through sheer willpower, but through consistent, gentle redirection. Through choosing, day after day, to act slightly more like the person you want to be. This is not self-help optimism. This is what Adler observed in real human beings, working through real struggles. Finding real change, not because they became someone else, but because they slowly, steadily became more themselves. So here is what I want to leave you with. If you've been procrastinating on something, and you have, we all have, I want you to resist the urge to judge that as weakness. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, with genuine openness, what am I protecting myself from? What would it mean if I tried and it didn't work? What story have I been telling myself about why now isn't the right time? You don't have to answer those questions perfectly. You just have to ask them honestly. And then, and this is the only prescription Adler ever really gave, take one small, imperfect, courageous step. Not because you're ready, not because you're certain, but because the life you want is not waiting behind some future version of you who finally has it all figured out. It's waiting in the action you keep postponing. You've stayed until the end, which tells me something about you. It tells me that on some level, you already know what you need to do. You don't need more information. You need permission to begin without being ready. Consider this, that permission. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.